We're going to look at this Minolta XGM 35mm SLR camera here and just put it through the paces and see what it does. I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to set it on automatic. I've got some batteries in it. They do not come with it, but they're in there for testing purposes. So let's point this into the bright light. I'm going to stop the lens down a bit. Okay. Now I'm going to block off some of the light. And we definitely heard a change. I'm going to block off a lot of it. Much slower. Okay, so we see that metering's working here on the automatic setting. Now we're going to set it to 1/1000th of a second, 1/500th, 1/250th, 1/125th, 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, 1/8th, and we are seeing the lens is stopping down. Okay, 1/4, 1/2, 1 full second, and the bulb setting, and I'm going to take the lens off for looking at that. Okay, there we're seeing through to the pressure plate. Now with the lens off, I see a little bit of distress to this plastic up here on the top. Looks like somebody probably tried to stick the lens on upside down or something and gashed that up a little bit. I don't know, I don't think that would affect anything function wise, but just be aware the mirror still goes up against that foam and that looks okay. So be aware of that. The stop down preview lever works. The aperture follower lever is free and moves well. Let's mount the lens back on. Check the stop down preview. We can see that's working well. Take the lens off and look at this a little bit. Smooth focus. Nice clicks on the aperture ring. And you can also lock this one at the f/22 setting. And this is really just for cameras that make full use of that feature. This camera does not, to the best of my knowledge. So you'd leave that off. This is the f2 version of this 50mm MD lens. I did look through here with a bright light and I see particles and a little bit of haze inside. It still seems to work okay, and if we look at the aperture blades, they're nice and quick and snappy. So we'll put that back on and just look around on the top here. It's got exposure compensation here. The ASA can be adjusted with this ring right here, and I verified that the meter changes as you change that, so the meter's working relative to that. The on-off switch is here. There's the self-timer over here. Now, one thing that I noticed that does not work properly is this light does not blink during the self-timer operation. The light itself works because if I turn on the battery check button, we can see the light coming on. But during self-timer operation, it is supposed to blink, but it doesn't, yet the camera still completes its cycle. See, there's no light there. But if we wait about 10 seconds, it will finish its cycle. And there we saw it. So the timer is working, but that visual indicator is not. If we open up the back, we can see here the curtains look good. The film transport is working properly. Move over here to the back. The pressure plate looks good. I don't feel much, actually none. There's no light seal material on these door edges, so that's really good. The foam here, a little bit sticky, but it's not really printing much onto this mating surface, just a tiny bit. So most likely those light seals will work fine for now. We can turn the camera off with that. It's got a good crank for rewind. And the bottom looks good. It's Not too dented up around the tripod socket. So all in all, an okay looking version of the XGM. There is a little contamination in the lens, and this light does not work during self-timer operation. Those were the only things that I noticed that are really wrong with it.